Mhm. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Tinfoil Hat Society today with myself and Doug Ryan.
Hey, folks. It's been an eventful
How's it
week.
going?
Eventful. Lots of stuff keeping me up at night. You know.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I've been YouTubing it like a mofo.
Well, you'll have to give us a quick cap of what you're doing.
Um, I'm just coming to grips with like some news that came in yesterday on Marfugal about um, like there's all these power companies in the East Coast, like the Seaboard, Eastern Seaboard, and they're like companies are getting calls late at night for huge orders of stuff, and it's all top secret, hush hush things, and it's like there's video evidence. I just shared it on Facebook. It's like so people understand like what's going on. I think everyone has to prep. In other words, get your stuff in gear, get some water, stored away, and food, and be ready. Learn some first aid and basic survival skills as soon as you can.
Wow.
Like that's how I'm at, but my mind frame's a little bit chaotic.
That would be keeping me awake at night, too. That makes me think FEMA camp type stuff already.
Well, it's close. If you look at China, like that's an experiment there.
Yeah, and Canada's pretty tight-knit with... Well, I guess not. I mean, like Trudeau called confused Japan and China, so I mean, he's...
Well, you can tell who's calling the shots, right? Like, essentially.
Yeah.
I remember the post I put up. I'm not going to say who he resembled, but he resembled a very evil individual, probably the most evil in history. And anyways, I got thrown off of Facebook for a week for that one with the... Well, yeah, it was that tied in with the trying to sell weed. But anyway, like weed's not weed. Like I'm not trying to sell pot, but I'm trying to like sell the service to start plants. You know what I mean?
So you're going to be a botanist for plant growing.
Yeah, if you want to like get technical, sure.
Well,
I'm not going to like university or anything to become a botanist, but it has passed my mind a few times. But anyways.
Hey, if you can grow it, you can grow it, right? I mean, like lots of people have plants and they don't know how to grow them, so why not pay someone to grow them in a nursery?
Exactly. Like, and then I was thinking timeshares. Like if you don't smoke, or like if your household doesn't grow weed, you can like sell your slot. Kind of, you know what I mean? I wonder.
Huh? I know like medically it works like that.
You could group your points like from like a point store or whatever. Like I wonder if you can actually like group a bunch of people to get it. You know what I mean?
You have more grow space. Yeah, because if you have one person growing. I know medically you can do that. You can have, what are they called? Compassion. Well, not compassion gloves. You have grow. Oh my God. My brain. I've been cleaning today. I got Tilex in my brain. Okay.
That's fine.
But yeah, it works. You'll have to check into that, or I'll find you the info on it. But it's definitely doable.
Okay.
There's a few steps you'll have to do it, but you can get there.
As long as you get there in the end. So
exactly.
You had me studying most of the week too. I divided some time up from crazy videos to watching things on like blood types, personalities, and like I've noticed Japan's got quite the research. If you've noticed, like I don't know, that's my take on it. But there's lots to do with like your personality, like characteristic traits and such.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, we could get into that right now.
Oh well, yeah. Let's do that.
So we're gonna finish up with different types, different qualities of blood types, and it was pretty interesting to come across that it actually was. What did I say last week? I said it was Japan, right?
What
that they were doing the blood types.
Well, yeah, Japan does a lot of like it's very big there.
And they go off of blood types for hiring people and whatnot.
For almost everything they do, kind of like it's involved with their whole like feng shui stuff. It's as like regimental as that, Like they're very like every job someone has to do, they'll match it up with numbers, like with their blood types and match the characteristics to make sure the job's right and in balance with nature. Like
yeah,
certain couples, like I watched the thing yesterday or today, I can't remember, but it was couples from certain groups are less compatible, and some are they'll work together. You know what I mean? So it's neat, and the numbers seem to support the evidence. So yeah, it's just because a scientist didn't say so. I think it's fact, and that's my reality. But
yeah. So I'm going to read these really quick.
Yeah.
So, and we'll talk a little bit about these blood types as we go through it. So the A blood type personality. So people with blood type A are clever, passionate, sensitive, and cooperative. They're loyal, patient, and they love peace. Sometimes they may be overly sensitive about different things. For instance, they care a lot about etiquette as well as social standards. They do not like to break the set of rules on etiquette or the laid down social standards or rules. So they're conformists, I guess. Not really. I know quite a bit of A's, and they're not, well, actually, my daughter's an A, and she's all follow the rules and stuff so she doesn't get in trouble. So blood type A personalities are careful decision makers, and they take their time before they can settle on any decision. Besides, they are not good at multitasking, as they prefer to handle one task at a time. Blood type A personality types are very organized, and they do not like haphazard actions. They prefer to keep everything neat and in its right place. They plan everything, and every task that they engage is carried Sorry, I'm like yawning. It's carried out with a lot of consistency and seriousness. Many people with OCD fall into this category and end up seeking help from a professional counselor who can help them with their compulsive issues.
It seems like most people now, but anyway.
It does, right? But don't forget, like I think it's like 68% of the population is an A blood type.
So it's like the dominant one, yeah.
Yeah, a big majority.
Well, I think it could be designed, starting to sound like a conspiracy to me. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, this is Japan scientists and therapists and whatever else. So, I mean, Japan's pretty. I don't know. Japan's pretty cool. I like watching their Japanese music videos.
Yeah, it's entertaining.
Oh yeah.
I used to get this. A quick side note: in London, I used to live in the north end of town, and this it was the ghetto, but not downtown kind of ghetto. Like it's suburbia, right? But there's a little bar in there, and it was an Asian karaoke bar. I shit you not. And I get all messed up all the time because I was younger and working and just partying all the time because I got recently split up with a serious relationship. And it was like I go there for entertainment. Well, all messed up and watch them singing Sweet Home Alabama. And it was the funniest shit, man. I swear to God.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. It was pretty fun.
I actually used to have this Chinese boss. I think he was Cantonese or Mandarin, and oh my God, do those guys ever drink? When they take out a bottle and when their cheers comes around and they're all screaming "Nim Sun," you don't stop drinking. Like you don't take just a shot, you finish your whole damn drink, and they do that like 20 times in an hour. Like you're bombed when you party with them.
Right on. Sounds like party on. Go ahead.
So people in this blood type personality are very stubborn and easily stressed. They have high levels of the stress hormone cortisol. See, like your blood type actually does affect like a lot. And this makes them intense. They do not like fights, and they prefer to be in harmony with everyone, and they like to work in collaboration with others in the community. They tend to keep to themselves more so when they do not want to share their ideas or opinions. Some of the most common personality traits of blood type A are as follows. They're kind, shy, stubborn, attentive, composed, polite, tense, withdrawn, reliable, perfectionist, sensitive, responsible, tactful, timid, mild-mannered, anxious, earnest, reserved, and polite. So the best personality traits of people with the blood type A are they're gentle, loyal, organized, consistent, loyal, and perfectionist. Their bad personality traits are that they're obsessive, pessimistic, overly sensitive, fastidious, stubborn, and easily stressed. As French people, it's type...
What type is that again?
Type A.
Type A, okay. Type AB, you mean, right?
No, just A.
That's A, holy, because, all right, they're pretty, wow. Like, they go from one end of the spectrum right to the rest, you know what I mean? So it could pretty much cover the whole board.
It does, yeah. Like, it doesn't even cover the negative or positive, it's just A altogether. A. This is the A classification.
Oh,
So as
okay.
friends, people with A blood type are very reliable and trustworthy. If you're in trouble, then you can rely on friends with this blood type. They do not like to show their emotions, and they keep their thoughts or feelings about things hidden from others, and they share only when comfortable. See, I have a friend who's an A blood type, and like yeah, like if you're in trouble, like he'll be there to help you out right away. Like they're pretty
Yeah,
protective people.
right on.
Yeah, so I
I
find this to be
like I don't know my friend's blood type, so it's so weird. Like that, it's such a big thing, and we, like, and most of the people I know, I've asked a lot of people this week, and they same thing. Like I'm getting, I don't know my blood type, or some do. They're like, oh, I think it's this, or it might be that, but this, you know what I mean? And then you go to the other end of the world, and it's like it's like before you say your name, it's almost like what blood type you are, so they can put you in that box. Here,
it's like,
get
oh,
that
you're this
box.
type of blood type. Just keep going because we won't be friends.
Well, that's what it's almost like. Like they're like, oh, we're not going to get along anyway, so catch you later. And whoa, like, but then you read the characteristics, and it like covers the same thing, just like they picked up a thesaurus, right? and they looked for words that were similar but didn't sound like that, so they could like say, okay, well, that word trustworthy and trustworthy fall in all three of them, so we'll just put trustworthy and then like reliable, and then words like that, and then so they're right all the time. You know what I mean? Because he's going from when you're reading it off, it's going from the highest level to the lowest, like,
yeah.
and it's all between, and it's like, oh, if you look at all of them, like it's like they're all the same almost, just like different ways of wording it. So that's how, like, I look at astronomy. Is it astronomy? Astrology, I think. They were like
Astrology.
Leo, and you get your horoscopes. What is that? Astronomy,
That's
right?
astrology. No, astronomy is the study of the stars.
Okay, all right. So that like can be very broad too. People like live by that, and a lot of people like that's how they base their day on that. And myself, I read them and I go, you could look at that and read into something no matter what, because you can relate to a moment in time, right? You'll attach it to and you'll say, yeah, that's me. Because I'll hear all these traits in all of them, and I'll say, well, I could consider myself this at times, and I could consider myself at that at times. And, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, because I think I'm other traits, characteristics, but I know what my blood says is an O, but I don't know what O.
We should get into astrology. We should get into like the different decans, because there's like 3 different decans per sign. So you've got your sign, like say, because like I'm Aries, and there's Decan 1, so it goes for the first third of Aries, and then you have Decan 2 for the middle part of Aries, and then you have Decan 3, and that gets even more interesting.
Right on.
Yeah.
I'd like to learn more about that. Maybe put it together with other things like blood types even, and then expand from there and a little bit deeper
I don't
research.
think we can compare birth charts to blood types, though.
Well, I
It
mean,
would be a little difficult.
it's complicated, yeah, because the data intake. But I mean, thankfully, there's quantum computers, and I'm sure someone thought of it already and has done the work. So it's just a matter of research now. I mean, research can be tedious though too, right? Looking for the fishing through, and then just because you find it doesn't mean that it's a fact. So you got to read it and then make your own truth based on what you read.
Exactly, because when you read something, it's like, okay, it's true, but here's some more details about this that I remember from like years ago, and it makes it truer or less true, or
Yeah,
it all depends on how you look at it, and if you've actually like know anything about it beforehand, or like if you're willing to learn more like during or after it.
yeah. A lot of people, they're like, oh, I know everything. They'll refuse to open and expand. I'm constantly, continually expanding myself because I'm like learning a lot at a rapid pace. Like, the amount of data I'm putting in my brain is stupid.
It's so smart, it's stupid.
No, I mean, I'm not trying to like gloat or nothing. I'm just saying and it's made me crazy because of what I've done. You know what I mean? I've basically overload, and I don't know. People don't do it, or they'll turn into me, and that's crazy.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to keep this show like point by point, but like very simple. Because once it starts reaching the crazy stuff, everyone's gonna be like, "Holy fuck!" But if you're following like point by point and everything we talked about, you'll be right on the same page. So
True enough.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard for me to function this computer at present. I need some funds to get my equipment running, like with a phone and everything, so I could research things and not have to click with the mouse and then, squint my eyes and move, and because I'm like tied into a cable here. I'm not even Bluetoothing it. And it's not because I'm afraid of radiation or anything like that, but I already checked the levels.
5G. I have 5G, so I'm terrified of like 5G, but it's literally all I can get living in the bush, and it's not even the best connection. So 5G doesn't even work. We should talk about that one next week.
Yeah, well, yeah, or we could wrap it into this week with blood types. Maybe they're even going after certain types with.
Oh, and the EMFs and everything. No, we'll have to make a whole different show. We'll have to have a whole show about that.
Oh yeah, the deeper you fall in the pitfall, the more things mesh together that you would never think they do, and it's weird.
Exactly.
It's the that's why it's the rabbit hole, right?
Yeah, you just don't want to trip and fall down it. You just want to like go slowly though.
Well, I don't know if there's a go slowly, because you have that eureka moment, and then pow, it's just
I remember like a few years ago, like I was like trying to explain something to someone, and I remember like I'm pretty good at like explaining stuff, because like I'll go point by point, and like I'll explain this and explain that, and people have questions. It's not that hard to explain. But I remember like someone like told me something like pretty far out there. Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. And he's trying to explain it to someone else, and he's like getting too excited, and he's jumping all over the place and all this stuff. And he was absolutely right with what he was saying, but other people just looked at him like he was completely fucking crazy because of the way he explained it. So
well, it's very difficult to explain. I can't even at times, because so many things are linked and you're all over the place. And maybe that's why they're putting out crazy ones that are like sending people in the wrong direction. Like flat Earth. I don't think the Earth is flat myself. I did for a while. But you know what I mean? And they're throwing all this stuff at us, so we can't explain to your friend because you're just, whoa, and then it leads into this, and then you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why we gotta stay.
It's just crazy. I don't know how you can establish rules in this show, but yeah.
Well, you're doing pretty good. I know, like I get excited too, and I'm like, I just want to talk about this, or I just want to talk about that. I'm like, you know what? Just keep a notebook, and you know what? Get to it. But things that like arise that are very like relative to what you're talking about, keep that like in your mind, and like keep that like close to your heart. And next week, I think we should do that as EMFs and 5G, maybe some HARP, because they're all pretty relatable. What do you think?
Absolutely, I think they're all connected. Yep. And then you throw in CERN in the mix too, and then it's just because it does.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it really is connected.
Yeah,
because they're what's running it. The power that's coming out of CERN is what runs everything, right?
See, we're gonna have people all lost now. Like, I just want to hear about. Nobody wants to hear about what we're talking about today. But yeah, no,
I don't want to listen to it. But I mean, hey guys, don't turn into me. That's all I can say.
That's why I like explaining things, like like a little bit of science here, and oh, well, speaking of that, and it's like, wow, you could go a little bit crazy off the topic. Like, that's kind of like more kind of like what I want to do with this show, in case everyone's listening and they're like, well, it's been boring. But it's like, well, you know what? You need a little bit of education. You need a little bit of like, well, what if? Or why? Just that one little question. And like, there's so many answers and stuff. It'll bring you there. But if you don't know what you're talking about, then you're going to be completely lost, and like, it's not listenable.
Yeah, unless you understand what's going on. Like if you're down the rabbit hole with them, yeah, you'll catch on. But
yeah, I don't know, because we might have new listeners and stuff.
Well, you never know. People stumble on stuff for research, like myself, and I found a lot of cool channels. And it's just, you endure a lot of BS through a lot of it, but you gain a lot of information that you otherwise wouldn't, and credible too, I may add.
Yeah,
there's some serious information going on, and that's being like withheld, and it's being labeled crazy, and people like don't want to delve into it because they're going to be labeled that. It's stigma, right? And everyone really, we're ego our ego controls us. Sorry about that, but our ego controls us,
Okay.
and
Yeah, for sure.
we need to just let go of the ego as a species. And it's tough. Like, it's the hardest thing to learn because we're
Like
bred to have one, right? We're like instilled from, we're indoctrinated to have an ego when we're born without one.
my whole goal of this show is like to teach people a little bit something, and then have them asking questions and like how this or how that, but like and then wrap it up and be like, well, in my opinion, and not sound so crazy, because it's like you've got a foundation of what you're talking about, you've got like some science, or you've got some articles or something to go off of, and then we can wrap it all up and be like, well, in conclusion. So it doesn't make people feel so crazy, because it's always the way you present stuff, right?
Well,
And
yeah.
I do plan on going like pretty fucking out there with a few things, but before we can get there.
I think that is the tough part, is like doing this, and then once we get through this, I'm sure it'll be a lot easier. Like, we can just like talk and see where it expands, right? Just expand on conversation and move from there, instead of like scripts. But yeah, let's learn about these blood types. So you got it in front of you. I'm gonna listen, and I'll be quiet now.
Okay, I read fairly quickly, so.
Okay.
Okay, so the B blood type. So people with the blood type are famous for their creativity. They make their decisions very quickly, and they're not good at taking orders. When they focus on something, they like to put their all into it, and they're unlikely to let go even if the goal is unachievable. They have a very strong drive or desire to be the best at anything that they have set their minds to do. Nevertheless, they are poor at multitasking, and they're likely to neglect other important tasks and put all their focus on whatever they have set their mind on at the moment. Oh, so they're stubborn people. So,
yeah, everyone's stubborn.
well, especially these B blood types. So blood type B people can be thoughtful and empathetic. They're good at understanding other people's point of view and do not like challenging or confronting others. People with blood type B make good and reliable friends. They face a lot of discrimination because of their negative personalities, such as selfishness and uncooperativeness at times. The society mainly focuses on the negative side of people with blood type B, even though they also have their good side. As a result, they tend to be loners and they isolate themselves from others. So are these all our emo kids?
That sounds like it. No offense, emo people. I don't even know what an emo is, to be honest with you. So I'm basically agreeing, because.
Oh, you don't know like Fall Out Boy? Well, like wait, not even Fall Out Boy. But, like at the time of Fall Out Boy, when Fall Out Boy first came out, and we had like Panic at the Disco and stuff.
Yeah. I know the music and stuff. It's just I don't know these names. It's just everyone's unique. You got to look at it. I'm older, eh? When I come from where you watch the Smurfs, you had like 4 or 5 choices of any particular thing, and that was it. Not, you're a boy or a girl, and that was it. There was no, I think I'm a toaster, or,
The little toaster from Mars.
Like, that's really screwed up society, and it's, sped it up, I think. But I don't know why I threw that in there, but it had to be said.
I guess so, eh? Well, we're almost done this one. So some of the most common positive personality traits of the people with the blood type B are such as curious, relaxed, strong, adventurous, and creative, passionate, active, outgoing, and cheerful. On the other hand, the negative traits are their wild, erratic.
Did you say drunk?
I'm sorry, drunk?
Cut you. Trunk or drunk? What'd you say?
What? Neither. Should I read that again? Curious, relaxed, strong, adventurous, creative, passionate, active, outgoing, and cheerful. On the other hand, the negative traits are wild, erratic, unforgiving, selfish, uncooperative, irresponsible, and unpredictable.
Okay. I could have swore I heard drunk. I'm just saying. That's why I was like,
emo kids don't get drunk.
Then I could see why the Japanese would like not want to, hire that particular blood type, because they'd be drunk.
Well, they've got a lot of negative traits, apparently. Irresponsible, unpredictable, cooperative. So they're very stubborn people, apparently. I honestly don't know very many bees. Probably because we I guess it's like something psychological, or like how like neutrons and stuff attract. And I guess it's just a natural repellent being an O.
Wow, that's an interesting way of looking at it. I like that. Cool.
Well, it like scientifically, like positives and negatives track. They are like neutrons or whatever. And
Yeah.
I kind of like see it like relatively the same as like a blood type being like a positive and negative. And that's why you have like the different charges with like negative blood type people that have like that static interference or the kinetic interference or the electric interference with electricity and stuff.
And we are beings of current. We are like electricity. We're energy, we're light. You know what I mean? When you break it down to the bare minimum, and that would make so much sense. I like that.
So it wouldn't even have anything to do with a rhesus factor or to say that you came from monkeys if you're a positive factor, but it would just have to do something with your neurological setup or the electricity within your body. Where like, well, you know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah. No, and I totally get what you're saying. I love it. I think it's great. I think like I never thought of it exactly that way. I don't know why I didn't think of that. I don't, like I say, I didn't get into blood types, but now that you brought that up, I like that because it goes right down to the basics, to the molecular level, to our what do you call it there? Our physics. It falls in line with physics.
It does. You know what? It makes more sense than evolution, to be honest. Because evolution is like, oh, we came from monkeys. We started as all positive blood types or something, and then we became negative, and all this stuff. There's so much to it and everything. Like, why isn't it just to be simple? And you kind of like to keep your mindset in the now. And it's like, well, we have positive and negative current. Negative attracts positive. Negative and negative will make a positive. And,
just like your
like
poles,
that.
magnetics, it runs on the electricity. Like when you're dealing with your wires, you're dealing with, you can't plug your let's say your input. You can't take an input from another one and input it into another one. It has to be a negative on one end, and to that, you know what I mean? Like they have to have a corresponding end. You can't put your VCR jack into the TV jack. You know what I mean? Like it's got to go in the one for VCR. No, but right down to that, like.
Yeah, it becomes, well, like that's my own little theory, and it like really simplifies things because it's like, well, rhesus is monkey factor.
Is that what they say?
Okay. Yeah, it's either you're a negative or a positive, and we go from negatives to positive, and the majority of the world has a positive blood type. Like it makes sense though, like a little bit more clearly, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, when you look at it that way, for sure. I
think I told you I would teach you something. My goal of
I've been learning a lot because of this show. Actually, yeah. Like honestly, I heard blood tapes before, and I'm like, oh, just make it stop. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, and at first when they're like, oh, there's targeted individuals and people are running with that, I'm like, who fucking cares? And pardon my language, but like there's people like blowing up towers with people in them in planes, saying they're planes. They're not fucking planes. And then, they don't care. Oh, the blood type. No, dude, like they took towers down. That's where I was at. And then it's like, I don't have time for your blood types. Well,
if you want to think about it, actually, and this will be like relative to next week if we're going to do HAARP and all that other stuff, is like with an with an EMP, negative blood types will not be affected by this as much as positive blood types. So don't tell me it's not something to do with some electrical current within your body.
Earlier, at the beginning of the show, I was going to ask that question. I stopped myself. I'm like, oh, no, it's not okay. Wow. Okay, you answered. Okay, and I didn't have to ask it until after you answered it. Nice. That's cool.
I try to get to everything. Like, I've kind of got like the mindset of like kind of teaching this stuff a little bit. Like, there's like a lot of times like people are like, well, how does this work or something? It's like, well, and now that I'm thinking about it, and it's like I could just piece things together and stuff. I think it must be like my INTP Myers-Briggs type to like connect connections. Yeah,
I was thinking. I
spent a lot of time alone.
Like I thought about that as soon as we got on earlier. Like we were talking about it. I was going on to like the 5G and that. I was going to ask you if you actually knew, and I'm being dead serious. And I'm like, no, I don't want to go off because that's going to bring us right off topic. But we got to it, and it's so cool, right?
Well, we touched it a little bit, but wait till next week because that's going to come out a lot more.
Well, that's good. Right on.
Well, we'll deal with the electricity in the world. I'll finish up with this. Actually, we're done the B one.
Have you thought of ley lines affecting blood types, like because it's energy lines on the grid?
Yeah, actually, I think we can touch that a little bit next week too, because of so much. Well, I don't want to like say too much because I don't want to start talking about it now. I kind of want to stay on topic and stuff, but For the most part, yeah, I totally think so because it is an electrical current, right, that goes around the Earth.
Yeah.
So,
And
depending on your positive or negative, and most people that are affected by it are actually negative blood types.
okay.
And you can look that up. That's a fact.
No, I'm going to actually research it this week because I'm actually interested in knowing all that. Um, it just shows how everything is tied together. You see what I mean? Like, does topics that you wouldn't think are related are totally
It's all
related.
related.
Well,
Exactly.
it is,
But you can
yeah.
make it seem like it's relatable. I mean, we could be completely off right now, but it's like, you know what? Here's something cool to think about. And you're like, here's the evidence brought forward, and here's the theory that I'm thinking. And, like, it's up to you to if what you want to believe. But, like, you should be believing a bit more, and you should be thinking a bit more. So I'm going to get into the AB blood type personality. O is actually last. So
Okay,
that's
saving the
pretty
best for
interesting.
last.
Hmm. I
Awesome.
guess so. Okay, so AB blood type. Blood type AB is a mix of A and B personality types. People consider them complicated and double-sided. For instance, they can be outgoing just like Bs and shy like As. At times, people view them as having double personalities, and they keep their true personalities from strangers. It is hard for a stranger to instantly decide which personality of which sorry, which personality people with blood type AB have until they get to know them. They are the rarest blood types in the world, and I think they're only like 2% or something.
Wow.
They're like really rare.
Yeah,
Yeah, ABs are popular and charming, and they make friends easily. And in the company of an AB blood type personality, they can never be there. There can never be a dull moment. They're fun and exciting friends to have around. Small stuff does not bother blood type AB personalities, but they are poor in handling stress. ABs are empathetic and they are also careful in dealing with others. They make sure that they consider other people's points of view. People with people with blood type AB have exceptional logical and analytical skills, and they are seen as humanists. So some of their good personality traits are they're caring, charming, controlled, dependable, cool, composed, sociable, dream chaser, trustworthy, rational, creative, adaptable, and diplomatic. Their negative traits are they are complicated, self-centered, irresponsible, vulnerable, indecisive, forgetful, unforgiving, critical, and two-faced. So here's something interesting about type AB blood type. Do you know the Shroud of Turin?
the Shroud of Turin. Yes, I do. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that yeah, the DNA test on that actually came back as an AB negative.
okay. So
And
AB,
there's
that's like an originating line, then, is what you're thinking. Or,
well, they're saying that it's Jesus blood type because the Shroud of Turin is conspiracized to be of Jesus. So they're saying that Jesus was an AB negative.
that's fascinating. I thought he would have been Rh negative, really. But
Well, that
okay.
is Rh negative.
Oh,
AB
is
Rh negative.
okay. I thought Rh negative was O negative.
No, no, no. Anything that is negative is Rh negative. Anything that's positive is Rh positive.
Oh, okay.
So
So
Ruth is
that's
positive.
okay.
Yeah, so we got the AB negative and positive.
All right.
So interesting fact about the AB blood type.
I'm still
um,
sticking to my guns, though. All the characteristics you can. That's so vague, and I'm just looking at it that doesn't matter if you are or you're not. Like, I mean, you're going to relate to something in those lists, and they're just changed the words to make it's the same action or the same like adjective, kind of. It's just a different word, right? They're using a thesaurus, is what I'm saying, because they're all the same basic answers.
characteristics,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? But just different words. Like that's how I see it. They go from the spectrum, and you're reading it. Well, you say it could be, at one side it was trustworthy and whatever you call it there, trustworthy and honest, and then it said two-faced. Like for negative aspects, it said two-faced and whatever. Like, and then the other one will say like um, unrespectful. Like it's all different words. You know what I mean? Like anyone can relate to it. Is where I'm going. And they're always right. They're right for like even if I said, okay, I'm a B, so I'm going to listen to the B trace. I say, well, yeah, I'm not. And even like if you're not though, but you're going to like kind of find agreements in that and say, well, I could be that blood type or I could be that blood type because I have all those too. Like, you know what I mean? That's weird. Like, I
It's
don't
weird
know.
that they actually like take these blood types and give them their personalities, and like they'll actually hire you depending on your blood type.
Yeah, especially in Japan.
Yeah. So I'm going to get into the O blood type. So I'm sure you'll find this one a lot more relatable to yourself. So people with blood type O are outgoing, go-getters, and daring. They usually set high standards for themselves, and they do all they can achieve. They do all they can to achieve them. O's have excellent leadership capabilities. Little things do not concern them, and this makes them appear selfish to people in blood group A who are overly sensitive. People with blood group O are generous and kind-hearted. Isn't this sound like kind of like A bit too?
Well, yeah, like that's what I'm saying. I heard A and I could relate to a couple of them, and I'm like, well, that's weird.
Wow, so most people love this blood type. Sorry.
Well, because it's the bigger percentage of the world, isn't it? Or the
No, I think it's like 30% or 38%.
Okay. Well, a bigger chunk, you know what I mean, than some of them.
It's the second most common blood type.
Okay.
So O blood type personalities adapt well to change. They're flexible and resilient and can do relatively well even in tough situations. Some of the positive personality traits in people with blood type O are leadership ability, self-determination, easygoing, optimistic, calm, confident, outgoing, loyal, cautious, passionate, peaceful, resilient, independent, trendsetter, reliable, carefree, and devoted. On the centrally, they are also jealous, rude, ruthless, insensitive, unpunctual. I'm like always late for everything. Unpredictable, cold, self-centered, workaholic, and arrogant. Individuals with blood type O are enduring and strong, and that's why the Japanese call them warriors. Ooh. They are honest people and they hate people who tell a lie or hide the truth. People with this blood type are not overly cautious about small details as they tend to focus more on the big picture.
Okay.
So here's the compatibility. So blood type O's are compatible with ABs and O's. Blood type A's are compatible with ABs and A's. Blood type B is compatible with ABs and Bs. Blood type ABs are compatible with all blood types. And I think that's just personality.
Okay. Okay, so not you're like donating. Is that for donating as well?
I think it's just personality wise.
Okay.
So if we want to get into like more of that, but they actually have, if you want people want to look this up, they actually have eating for your blood type as well. And like there's a science behind that. They actually have a diet where you actually pay like $10,000, and it's for eating for your genetics. Which your genetics is your genes, which your genes is found mostly in your blood, right? I mean, so you can characterize this up pretty quickly, pretty efficiently, and for absolutely nothing if you like look up eating for your blood type. So you can look up eating for blood type A, for blood type B. And I think the majority of it is A blood type should eat mostly vegetarian diet. Blood type B, I can't remember what that one is. I know blood type O should be eating kind of like a paleo diet, kind of like if you can't eat it, or if you can't hunt it, or you can't pick it, you don't eat it. So like hunter-gatherers type of thing. So a lot of meat, a lot of vegetables. AB is like the only blood type that's like suggested to eat a lot of dairy and cheese and stuff.
Okay.
So eat. I'm actually gonna search that up now. So, Jesus, I just want a quick image or something.
Quick image.
Yeah, just a quick. What should you eat?
Yeah, you know how they brought you a little thing when you were a kid. You should eat this portion for breakfast, like this much for breakfast, and this. Have a bit of that, and levels. Just get customized menus for your week. Like I'm sure there's a website that does that, eh? There's got to be. They got a website for everything nowadays.
Oh, okay. Hold on. So the beneficial foods for type O are seaweed, red meat, cold water fish, spinach, and kale. For type A, the beneficial foods is cultured soy products, pineapple, olive oil, onions, and broccoli. For type B is red meat, broccoli, cultured dairy products, onions, and pineapples. So cheese and yogurt and stuff. And type AB is tofu, cultured dairy products, broccoli, walnuts, and cauliflower. So actually, like I'm an O, and like I used to like try avoiding eating meat and stuff, and like I actually ended up like being like a lot sicker most of the time. Like I eat a lot of meat now, and it's like, wow, I've got a lot more energy. Actually my eczema went away. I used
Oh
to get
wow.
eczema a lot. Yeah. I
Okay.
quit drinking milk. My eczema left. Um, I avoided pretty much all these foods. And you know what? Like I just found over like the years, it's kind of like I just wanted to eat more of these foods that are like more beneficial for me. And I'm like, oh, hey, that kind of fits in with my blood type and eating for my blood type.
Well, right on. So,
Yeah.
well, it makes sense, I guess if your blood's got a certain amount, like if they're not compatible with another person, I'm sure your food would have a lot to do, like your diet's everything, and it would
Well,
require other nutrients and minerals to function.
if you think about it, okay, so I'm O, so I can only make us relevant to O blood types. But if you look at O's, like O's are more likely to have less iron in their systems. So the red meat is like super beneficial for you.
Okay, yeah. Well, the
Um,
iron in it too, that probably helps with the conductivity of the blood, maybe. It's a current, right?
right?
It's our current, so.
And we put metals in it. So I mean, like, doesn't that sound like electrical wiring?
Yeah, and they're putting aluminum in it now too. When they crank on that 5G, look out. Ever put a piece of tinfoil in the microwave?
No, but it sounds like a fun plan.
Well, that's what it'll be like, right? It's like a little lightning show. I used to do it all the time, or put a CD in there. Ever throw a CD in the microwave?
No, I wasn't allowed to throw things in the microwave that could probably made it explode. My mom would have killed me. I actually put eggs in the microwave once, like, and tried to boil them, and the microwave exploded, and that was it. I wasn't allowed to put anything else in the microwave that was like a pizza pocket or something.
You're limited.
Yeah. Oh man. And then I found out you could put poached eggs in the microwave, and I'm like, well, what the fuck? But that's a whole different other story.
Oh, I bet.
So with the conductivity and stuff, and the blood types and everything, so here's something interesting. So most people kind of like go through their lives, and they're pretty much unbothered. You're a slave to the system, and blah 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 blah. And most of us like try to like conform to that type of lifestyle and stuff. And it's a little bit less stress free, if you work and you eat and you fuck and you go to bed and stuff like that. Because you kind of fit in with everyone. But we have like this ongoing issue that I see everywhere, and they have groups on Facebook for it and everything. And it is targeted individuals. And these targeted individuals, they'll have one thing in common is I'll say 95% of them all have one thing in common, and that is that they're all O negative blood types. So are they like really being targeted by governments and by actually the majority of alien abductees are O negative as well? So are they being targeted, or are they just a little bit cray cray?
I don't think they're crazy. I mean, I've listened to a lot of targeted individual interviews of people that are experiencing that and actually watching their channels. And it's pretty interesting. It's a whole organized outfit from what it seems. And they don't pay cash. They pay you in like gift cards from what I gather. So.
And what do you do?
Well, they're getting paid in gift cards from the agencies. Like there's actually like a whole system in place. You can watch videos on it. I don't have the video in front of me. I can pull it up though. And once I find it, I could let everyone know so they can watch this guy and he'll explain everything.
Oh, just post a link in the YouTube video.
Yeah, I'll do that after the show. Perfect.
Yeah.
The guy tells you because he used to be one of the people that worked for the security firm that did it, and he is now targeted. And he explains the whole outfit and how it runs. And he seems pretty credible. He's not, you know what I mean? He's not some guy that's, one step away from the loony bin. He's like, well, I'm trying to put it. He might be
after being targeted, right?
He came out and started, he leaked the whole thing when he realized what was going on, like totally going on, because it was a security firm that he worked for. And the things that they were doing was like very unethical. And he started questioning,
kind of things are they doing?
They're actively like going in, putting surveillance equipment in homes when they leave, from like actively messing with people. Like, I don't want to say it all because it sounds nuts. I'll post a video. Like, it's pretty intense stuff, and now he's targeted. So he's started a channel on what to look out for, and he's showing them as they're targeting him. Now, maybe it's just, an act, but it looks pretty credible.
And that's all because of his blood type, or that's all because of people's blood types?
It came up. Yeah, he said that he's not sure the actual end game because he didn't know much from what he did. He just knows the tactics used, how they work as a team, and the data structure, how it worked, that it's actually broken down. They pay a lot of people for the streets. I think it's called street drama. Have you heard of that before?
No.
Street acting. It's they'll have active groups to like throw you off, have you thinking, say key words, and it's random, or it's certain color cars they bring up. It's always red cars or something to do with like red in cars is a big deal with it. Something to do with the whole trip, man. Like, I haven't been able to get right to the bottom because I'm like, whoa, this is like, why am I watching this? You know what I mean? Like, I could be doing better things with my time, but it's fascinating at the same time, right? So it's like, but I'm like, I can't say all the facts, but I'll say that it's pretty interesting because there's a group of them talking about it, and they're all agreeing with each other. People that would have never met before, from different backgrounds, from different, You know
what's funny is, like, I'm an O negative, right? And, like, I'm always hearing, like, O negatives are targeted and stuff. And to be honest, like, I honestly don't feel targeted. Like, I mean, like, shit will happen in my daily life, but it's not like, oh, no, like, they're like, the CIA is after me or something. It's more kind of like, well, that's a fucking fluke. But most people are like, no, you're like, that's targeting. And I'm like, well, doesn't everyone go through this shit like this? Like, sometimes I get random phone calls from like weird ass numbers and stuff. I mean, is it normal? Or like, do people just say, oh yeah, because I'm targeted and I am an O negative, and the majority of O negatives, or 86% of us, are targeted, then people start feeling this way? So it's kind of like a manipulation thing?
Yeah,
just make you paranoid?
Thought of that too. Yeah. Well, they do that. It's disinformation, right? And then the next step is they want to make it to the point where they end up in a loony bin, because once you're labeled, that's where they get you, right? That's apparently that end game. Something to do with, yeah, it's pretty, like I said, I'll share this link. I'll pull it up now, actually. And can I send it to you? I don't have access to the page or anything right now, so I was going to just send it to you, but.
Yeah, I'll post it in the link, like once the video is posted, because we're not doing live videos anymore. So.
Oh, this isn't live.
No, it's just we're just recording, so it'll be uploaded later. Like.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
We can edit that out then. No, just kidding.
Oh no! Once you say it, you're stuck saying it.
Hey guys, I fuck up a lot, so get used to it.
It's all good. I used to get like really excited when I used to like do podcasts, and I'd be like stuttering and be like all over the place and everything. And now like I'm in like a few episodes in, a few weeks in, and I'm like, okay, just breathe, take your time.
So it does get better then, right?
Oh saying? Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So no worries. Like, I guarantee in a few episodes you'll be like, oh, okay, I got this shit, blah blah blah. And like, if you listen to like a few of my first podcasts, I was like all over the place and like, oh, super excited all the time and everything. And yeah, now I can keep my head a little bit more level. Well, it is a little nerve-wracking, right?
It's, yeah. Just because the pressure, especially talking about things like this, like, we all go to a pretty dark place, and we don't want to share what we, what we research, because we find out some disturbing stuff, and it's like, that's where it gets to, right? People are at different levels of this, like, rabbit hole. Sorry, I gapped right out. That was weird. It happens a lot. Like, I think it's, like I say, information overload. It's just...
It can be, yeah. But, yeah. Just breathe. It's just me and you having a conversation. So
Yeah.
that's kind of like what got me like over it was like, it's just a conversation between you and whoever.
There's a guy out of Vancouver. I shared one of his videos with the group once, and I think you had commented about him. I don't want to say his name publicly, but he had a channel. He speaks about Target in Vancouver, and it's pretty wild, man. His work was pretty good.
Was that the guy who was walking around and he was like talking to police and stuff about weird things?
Oh, he was in a shelter, and some weird things was going on, and then he was getting targeted for a bit, but now he's putting out rap videos again. So he seems to be probably stable. Like finally, he's got himself back together on the residence and whatnot.
Well, I guess it could be quite intimidating, right?
Yeah. Well, he was explaining, like, I guess while he was in there, he was talking about how he mentioned it to one of the ladies that worked at the shelter about targeted individuals and blah, blah, blah. And he was saying how she pretended she didn't know anything. And then all of a sudden, bam, oh, you're targeting an individual. And she just went off and started telling him, like, confirming everything he was basically trying to find out.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was pretty interesting. And I shared his work on Strange Clouds because I was like, wow, you guys have got to see this. And this is here in Canada. You know what I mean? Like, this is myself, I'm in Canada, so it's happening here, right? Like, it's not just in the States, or it's not just a generalized area. It's actually all over the place. And yeah. But I'm getting right into targeted individuals and lacking the work on blood types with it. So we'll get back to there. I'll rewind us into the blood types with it before we get all kerfuckled.
So funny story. This is actually a personal story. A buddy of mine actually told me this story. Sorry. He told me this story a few years back, and he was probably like mid-20s, like closer to 30s, and he as a child like remembered like bright lights and stuff, like kind of like alien abduction type of stuff where you see a bright light and then you don't remember very much.
Okay, yeah.
And so later on in his life, he went to go get surgery done and his appendix was gone. So when he woke up, like, yeah, so when he woke up, like the doctors and nurses were like in shock and stuff, and the doctor's like,
the aliens got it first.
Yeah, the doctor's like, we're gonna send you for alien hypnosis at a therapist and stuff.
Quite ended up at the body part lab too. She was selling body parts.
Well, apparently, while he was in surgery, he started doing like this weird stuff, and he's like, I can't even tell you what I did because they wouldn't tell me because I'd be scarred for life. But my doctor actually sent me to see an alien hypnosis therapist. And so while there,
you went to regression, eh? That's crazy.
Yeah. And so while there, the therapist was like, we can, like, from what I was told by your doctors and nurses that were there for your surgery, we can do like the regression or hypnosis on you. But I really suggest that you don't, because most people that we do this to, they end up going crazy. These are people that are like homeless people living on the streets. Like they get really affected by this regression. And he's like, I really suggest you don't do it.
Have you looked in any of the regression videos? Like with, what's that famous lady's name? She was doing it there and she made the Nostradamus prophecies. Like she channeled through one of her patients directly to Nostradamus. That's within the Naughty Beaver. That ties a lot of his information up too, which is interesting. Naughty Beaver, she's like world famous for Nostradamus now. Like,
I don't even know.
Have you followed Nostradamus at all? Like, are you familiar with him?
You know what? I remember, like, the last thing I read about him was that Nostradamus' predictions ran out in 2012 because there was a change of time and he couldn't see past that time. So now when I'm hearing all these Nostradamus predictions, now I'm like, no. I'm like, there was no predictions after 2012 because he couldn't
actually, no,
do
there
them.
was. No, there was. there was a lot of them actually, and the primary people that are like involved with like who have cracked them, because this lady actually like channeled him through her patients in a regression, in a past life regression. It's very interesting. You should watch this documentary. I shared it this week too. Like, I've watched it before her work, and it's just amazing. Yeah. And it's like she's like the pioneer in regression. Nostradamus.
I'll have to share that link to this video as well, so people can follow that.
Naughty Beaver really touches on all of that. Like I said, he's pretty interesting, and he's Canadian, so I support him. I like to support as many Canadians as I can, because we're rather outnumbered, but we're very current, if you know what I mean. Like, our information is cutting edge.
It is, because because we're a little bit less censored when it comes to this stuff than in the USA. I mean, like, a lot less channels get shut down in Canada, because it's like, we're Canadian, like, no one listens.
Yeah, like, they're just a bunch of fucking, just a bunch of Eskimos. That's what they think. I had a pen pal when we were in grade like 4 or something like that, or 3, and the kid was from Cleveland, Ohio, or Cleveland. Anyway, so on the other side of the Great Lakes in the United States, and he asked us if we lived in igloos. Like
really?
Well, he asked me, not us. He asked me in the letter, because he was a pen pal. Our teachers, I guess 2 teachers got their classrooms to be pen pals, right? So we all got assigned a student, and we wrote letters to them.
And that was a legitimate question.
Yeah, and most of my class actually got asked the same question. Like, so we started messing with them in some of the replies, like, we all live at the CN, the CN Tower, and we go to school at the Sky Dome. That's what we were telling them.
Wow.
And, yeah, it was pretty wild. Like, when we're like all laughing, because we're like, they actually think we live in igloos. It was just kind of humorous at the time, but then, they're not familiar with us as much as we're not as familiar as them, right? It's kind of.
Well, I kind of feel like we live like kind of in the same conditions, It's not like, even in like Japan, they all live in houses of some sort. They'll have roofs and walls and, indoor plumbing probably for the most part. I mean, it's really not that different, but it just shows to show you, like, when you're like 10 years old, like, how much information you're not given. It's pretty cool that people get to ask those questions, but that was a pretty awesome trick to play on them. Like, yeah, we live in the CN Tower.
One of us in our class actually wrote that, because like, he's like, I'm gonna mess with them. I thought it was funny. I'm like, well, whatever, like, they'll figure it out. They got a teacher and they got a classroom. Like, they're all gonna, because we had to read the letter that we got in class. You know what I mean? Like, it was a big assignment. Like, everyone participated, and whenever a letter would come in, we'd have to do our little thing in class, right? With this assignment.
Oh, wow.
So it's like a forced penmanship friendship, but it was okay. It was neat. I never kept touch with him though. Who knows if he's alive still? But
Oh. Wow.
Maybe I should have followed through, but whatever.
So, personal question, and I know you said that you didn't want to talk about this earlier, but we are here, and so. Well, since we are here, you don't have to answer if you don't want to. Just in your opinion, do you feel anyone more targeted than any other individual in the world?
At times.
And you don't have to answer, of course.
No, I'll answer this. No, at times, but I think every one of us at times feel that way. Things can get overwhelming, and the brain processes things uniquely. And
very true.
I think before jumping to conclusions, try and examine more detail, look for more evidence. Myself, I don't think I'm not totally convinced, but I mean, I don't want to be any more convinced. Do you know what I mean? We'll just put it that way. But maybe it's because I research topics that a lot of people don't. And it could be, I'm digging in areas maybe I shouldn't. I often think that.
I guess so.
Yeah, well, I have no filter. I share whatever the fuck I see, right? But and if people watch what I share and actually put it together, maybe they wouldn't be so quick to think that I'm little bit crazy. I know I'm crazy, so it's okay, guys. You don't have to keep a secret. Like,
Well,
it's made
you
me
know,
this way. I often wish I didn't actually get into conspiracies sometimes, but then I'm like, but what I want to know if these things are actually happening. You know what I mean? And I do. So.
well, I guess you did start by asking the question. So, I mean, like you wouldn't have gone looking for answers if you didn't ask the question. But I find, like, personally, I don't feel more targeted than anyone else. You know, I have slow internet connection speeds at times, like whoopee shit, you know, stuff like that. I to some extent, I do agree that yes, you may be slightly targeted, probably more by the medical field. And maybe it's not only like for conspiracy type of shit, but like O negative blood type is the only blood type that cannot be cloned. So
It
you
can't be
got that.
cloned?
No, it cannot be. You can
And you know
clone
this
any
for
other blood type.
you know this for a
Yeah,
fact, 100%? Yeah, okay.
you can look it
I,
up.
I've never heard that, so that's kind of neat. Well,
It is. So I mean, like they could do so much experimentation, like, you know, like nuclear testing. I don't know what the Nazis did in the 40s and stuff, but I'm pretty sure they had a lot less effect on like negative blood types. And I know like that type of stuff is illegal now, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were still trying to do somewhat of experimentations.
do
Like,
criminals care about laws? Really? Do criminals stop law? Like, does laws stop criminals? They don't.
no.
So what's
Like,
a
does
law
a
going to
peace
do?
exactly? Does a peace bond stop like somebody from harassing and stalking you? No, it does not. So, you know, it kind of leaves a lot of questions, and you know, maybe we'll give you the answers, but I don't think we'll do that tonight on this show. That's going to get a little bit more into too much stuff. I think we just need to start just about wrap up here.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I went off on a tangent again, guys, this week. Sorry.
No, it's perfect. I just don't want the show to go too long because then it's too much stuff. And then you get too lost in it and everything. It's like, we'll keep it short, we'll keep it sweet, we'll keep it simple. We'll keep you wondering, well, what if? So
I
you
think
do come back next week.
I think every week we start. We should do like the week's news, like what we've heard, what's cut, like you know what I mean, maybe 15 or 20 minutes to that, and that aspect. If people are good with
Conspiracy
that.
news?
Well, yeah, and what's current, at least. You know, it's like when we open up, kind of like the news, and then on to the show. You know.
You'll have to keep up with that. You're a lot better at that than I am.
Well, I'll get organized with that and be more prepared. Yeah. I'll keep
There
it
you go.
short.
You can have your own little conspiracy breaking news this week.
There we go. Perfect.
I like that. That works.
Well, I'll see you guys next week then.
All right. Did you want any stalkers?
Yeah, Doug Ryans at outlook.com.
Okay.
It's said at the end, all one word. Doug
Okay.
Ryan.
You can.
Yeah. Easy peasy.
You can find me on Facebook at Venus Chan. I'm no longer on my band. Or you can find me Solar Nova, which I do update if I'm on like a 30-day ban, so you will be able to find me there. Instagram, Venus Uncensored, or you can email me at venusuncensored@gmail.com. I will be back next Monday with The Realm of the Mist. Next Tuesday with It Had to Be Said with Venus. And next Thursday again, we'll be back with the Tinfoil Hat Society.
Right on. Be safe, folks.
Hello?
Speech.
Hello?
He created Adam. He taught him how to.
Yes.